Good morning, and welcome. I'm Julio Malera, President and CEO of the Business Report. This morning's virtual event kicks off today's Louisiana Business Symposium. It's the first of two events. And on behalf of our sponsors, Fishman Haygood, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, LWCC, Iberia Bank, and WAFB, we'd like to welcome you to the annual Best Places to Work celebration. We're honored that all of you would join us this morning for this special presentation. We're certainly living in challenging and chaotic and interesting times, but there's no doubt that as industries continue to be disrupted, technology continues to change, and competitive pressures increase on all of us, there's one thing that's for sure, and that is that people want to work for companies that make them feel valued, a place where they're part of a team, where they're provided support and growth opportunities, and most of all, there's a positive work environment. This year marks our 7th year of producing the best places to work. It's also our 7th consecutive year of having increased participation throughout the capital region. There were a lot of companies that didn't make the top 50 places to work, but this morning you're going to find out who did. The Best Places to Work program is a collaborative project with two organizations, one locally and one actually globally. The first here locally is the Greater Baton Rouge Society of Human Resource Management, otherwise known as SHRM, and the Best Companies Group, a national firm that does this nationwide and even worldwide. And at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the current president of SHRM, Ms. Teresa Jones. Teresa, welcome.
Thank you, Julio. Good morning. I am Teresa Jones, president of Greater Baton Rouge Society for Human Resource Management, also known as GBR SHRM. 2020 has brought an overwhelming number of challenges to the workplace, and I'm proud and excited to be among those organizations today who have found ways to not only persevere when faced with adversity, but to rise to the occasion. As the premier HR organization in the area, GBR SHRM members benefit from networking with HR professionals and companies, albeit virtually as of late, local professional development opportunities, and access to current best practices. Speaking of all of these benefits, we're looking forward to our annual fall conference, which is going virtual this year. The two-day event will feature 4 tracks, including diversity and inclusion, legal, leadership, and culture and engagement. Anyone who registers during the month of September will receive a complimentary GBR SHRM membership for the remainder of 2020. To find out more, I invite you to visit our website, gbrshrm.org. A link to all of the exciting things going on with GBR SHRM is in the chat for quick access. On behalf of GBR SHRM, I would like to thank the Greater Baton Rouge Business Report for allowing us to partner for today's event. I would also like to congratulate all of today's Best Places to Work nominees. Companies like those present today make Greater Baton Rouge a workforce thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Next up, you're going to hear some interesting facts regarding companies in the capital region from the president of the national firm that runs the analysis and shares the data with all of us. But first, check out these 2 messages from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Charles Landry, the law firm Fishman Haygood. 2020 has certainly been another year to test the resiliency of Louisiana. But I've lived and worked in Louisiana long enough to know one simple fact. When faced with tough situations, our community unifies and works together. We can't control when this virus will stop whipsawing us or when our economy will be fully rebuilt. But what we can do is practice the core values that make our community strong: respect, courage, fairness, and most importantly, generosity. The Water Campus is a prime example. Phase 1 is completed, and it will ultimately have space dedicated to collaborative coastal science and applied research. Scientists and engineers are gathering today on one campus to help solve the problems of our shifting coastlines so we can preserve how we live and work. At Fishman Haygood, we look forward to being right here with you to help make Louisiana an exceptional place to work and live.
Hi, I'm Craig Netterville, Iberia Bank Private Client Group Manager. Nonprofit organizations are an important part of our community. The programs and services they provide to individuals and families are immeasurable. During times like these, more than ever, we recognize the current economic strain that affects many of our partners throughout the greater Baton Rouge area. As a longtime volunteer and supporter of nonprofits, I am equally proud to be an associate of Iberia Bank, who is just as passionate about supporting these organizations as I am. Iberia Bank reached an exciting milestone recently by merging with First Horizon Bank. The communities we serve will continue to be at the heart of everything we do. Together, our combined company remains committed to supporting Baton Rouge and creating positive changes across our entire footprint. Through the First Horizon Louisiana Foundation, we are committed to critical investments that support strong partnerships with nonprofit and civic organizations, community development initiatives, and greater access to financial services for everyone. We will continue to be a strong steward of this community to be better together.
And now it is my pleasure to introduce the president of the Best Companies Group, Mr. Peter Burke. Peter?
All right. Thank you, Julio. And wow, what an awesome setup, what an awesome production. And I want to extend my greetings to all of you tuning in from wherever you might be tuning in from. But I guess it doesn't really matter where we are. All we know is that COVID-19 has prevented us from celebrating all together like we normally do. But fret not. We are still in the presence of greatness. We still want to celebrate you, and this award is perhaps more meaningful than it ever has been before. Now, the Baton Rouge Business Report always manages to make this Best Places to Work in Baton Rouge event a memorable experience. This morning is no exception. We are going to have some fun, for sure. Now, our firm was once again the research partner for this designation, now in its 7th year. If you were all here, I'd be saying something like, the best places to work in Baton Rouge are in the house. Are you ready to celebrate? Woohoo, Julio! Well, that seems a little awkward from the studio here, but I'm still super excited to celebrate you, so it's worth it. While this virtual event has most of you tuning in from various places, it does not lessen the importance and excitement of this awesome achievement, so congratulations. This award is unlike any other. Simply put, you are being recognized for creating workplaces where your employees love to come to work. But beyond that, you are being honored for being the best of the best in Baton Rouge. Now, research is teaching us that many organizations these days are focusing on increasing employee engagement, which is awesome. It really is great to see the increased emphasis on the employee experience. However, even though many are getting better, only a select few will receive this kind of recognition, and that includes the winners tuning in today. Our firm, Best Companies Group, conducted a 2-part assessment process for all who applied. 25% of the evaluation was based upon the benefits you offer and the cool things you are doing for your employees. This part is fun. Each year I find new and cool things employers are doing. Some of my favorites include Beer Cart Fridays, wear whatever you want, dress codes, bring your parent to work day, solar eclipse celebration day, that's a real thing, and office closures between Christmas and New Year's. Now, will closing between Thanksgiving and New Year's be next? I don't know, probably. But these are the kinds of benefits that make a huge difference. Now, the other 75% of the evaluation was from part 2 of the assessment, the Employee Engagement Survey. To recognize workplace greatness credibly, you must ask the employees directly and anonymously what they think. And that is exactly what we did. According to most research firms, between 35 and 40% of U.S. employees are considered engaged. I'll say that number again. Between 35 and 40% of employees around the country are considered engaged or connected to their employer. How good are the winners tuning in compared to that 35%? Well, the answer is pretty darn good. How about 96% good? Oh, Julio, can I get a whoop, whoop? Okay, all right, again, a little bit awkward here from the stage with just a handful of people, but we want to celebrate you in a very loud way. I also wanted to look at Baton Rouge compared to the other 50-plus programs we run in the United States. That number's pretty darn good as well. Again, only 35% are connected to their employer or engaged. The national number is 93%. but not as good as Baton Rouge, where again, the average engagement for your winners is 96%. That's pretty awesome. So if you wanted to say you were some of the best places to work in the country, the scores would support that, and so would I. So how about that? I'll also throw in a couple of other facts from the research that may interest you as well. The top 3 drivers of employee engagement for the best places to work in Baton Rouge. Let's start with number 3, employees liking the type of work they do. The number 2 driver, having confidence in the leadership of the organization. And the number 1 driver of employee engagement is employees feeling valued at work. So if you want to move the needle on employee engagement, those 3 drivers will have the most impact. Now, as a result of this remarkable work, your brand as an employer is getting stronger. You will win the battle for talent, you will enjoy reduced turnover, and you will receive better qualified job candidates. Now, where is the bad news in all of that? Okay, enough of me. As I wrap up, I just want you to realize that many organizations are struggling to find excellence in this new normal. You are different. Excellence has been normal for you for a very, very long time. So congratulations again to all of you winners, and I'll throw it back to Julio. Thanks for having me. Sure thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Really appreciate him flying down. He had called and said, hey, since you're doing it virtual, would you like me to do it virtual and live? I said, no, we need it live. Bring your energy. And he certainly has that as he does this program all over the country and the Western Hemisphere. Now it's time for our 2020 Best Places to Work winners. But first, I want to show you something hot off the press. It comes in the mail today, and for some of you, maybe tomorrow. The Best Places to Work special publication. Not only does it feature the rankings and the companies in the Best Places to Work companies, but there's a special section on the faces and voices of leadership in the Capital Region. You won't want to miss it. And we'll be right back in 1 minute after this special announcement.
Home. It's not just a place, it's a feeling. Home is everlasting. It's always been there, and it'll never leave. It's the food. It's your favorite place off the beaten path. It's the people. It's also hard to explain, but not to those who understand it. You're proud of this place, and so are we. We've always been here, cheering you on, helping this place we call home thrive. Now, we are making it our mission to be a champion for Louisiana, to continue to help shape this big, beautiful, amazing state we all love into something greater. And we aren't alone. Every agent, employee, and policyholder is a part of that mission. So stand up, get ready, because Louisiana's future is bright. Our business is Louisiana's business. And we're just getting started.
Yes, we're just getting started. If that doesn't inspire, I don't know what does. Well, welcome back. It's time for the Best Places to Work 2020. Let's take it away, Stephanie.
Introducing the 2020 Small and Medium Employer category winners. Baton Rouge Youth Coalition, Catapult Creative Media, CMA Technology Solutions, Commerce Title and Abstract Company, Cypress Title, DNA Workshop, Emergent Method, Invoke, Falk & Winkler, First National Bankers Bankshare, Gatorworks, Gresham Smith, Guarantee Restoration Services, Guarantee Corporation, Hannes T. Bourgeois, Labar Associates, Lipsies, LWCC, MAP, Moran Construction Consultants, Patrician Management, People's Bank, Red 6 Media, Sigma Consulting Group, Sparkhound, Stewart and Company General Contractors, Taylor Porter, the LDS Group, the Pangburn Group, 368, Transformix, Vinformatics, Weimar Federal Credit Union. Introducing the 2020 Large Employer Category winners. AmeriHealth Caritas, Louisiana, B1 Bank, Benny's Car Wash, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana, BSX Insurance, EQ Health Solutions, Gallagher, GMFS Mortgage, Home Bank, HGA, IEM, Keen Miller, Louisiana Healthcare Connections, Pelican State Credit Union, Phelps Dunbar, Red River Bank, the Lemoyne Company. Congratulations, 2020 winners. Julio, back to you.
Congratulations to all of this year's winners. And now, like we do every single year, we want to recognize the #1 place to work in Baton Rouge in both the small to medium-sized category and the large companies category. But first, check out this special message.
Congratulations to this year's Best Places to Work.
Thank you for your commitment to providing a great workplace for residents in the Baton Rouge community.
We're thankful to have a great place to work and thought we'd share the opinions of some of our team members on why they love it at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge.
People tell me all the time that even don't know me, they go, "You love what you do, don't you?" I go, "I do. I really do."
Everybody says it's a team, but it's more of a family.
Here, you're really not alone because everyone's willing to help. It was easy for me to call this home.
By far the best place that I've ever worked.
As you can see, having a best place to work usually means having the best people, and we feel our team is just that, the best.
Their commitment to our culture inspires us every day, and we couldn't provide a best or nothing experience without them.
Thank you for your commitment to your employees and ultimately our community. And congratulations from us at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge.
Hi, I'm Joe Scartino, and on behalf of everyone at WAFB, it's an honor to be a part of the 2020 Louisiana Business Symposium. 2020 is proving to be full of an entirely new set of challenges. Like many other businesses, we needed to find new ways to serve our community.
With so much happening and changing, we've added 2 new half hours of news. The new 9 News Alert at 4 and the hour-long 9 News at 6, so we can take a deep dive into the issues that actually matter right here.
We're also working to better serve the businesses in our community with creative strategies to help them reach more clients on the best platforms for their business, pooling research and strategies that are working across the country and bringing them to you.
You know, we love covering stories about perseverance and recovery. And if I know anything, I know Louisianians are resilient. Even navigating something as difficult as the impacts of COVID-19, we are finding our way.
And together, we will all get through this.
Welcome back. Now we want to recognize the top 3 ranked best places to work in both categories. But first, for the small to medium-sized company category winners. In 3rd place this year, First National Bankers Bank. In second place, Moran Construction Consultants. And the top-ranked small to medium-sized company this year in first place, Weimar Federal Credit Union. Defending his title. Congratulations, gentlemen. Now, for the large company category winners. In third place, GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. In second place in the large category, Phelps Dunbar. And the top-ranked large company this year in first place, congratulations, Home Bank. Congratulations to all 6 of our winners. Now, besides honoring the best places to work companies this morning, one of our goals is to give you a little bit of insight, give you a little take-home value to improve your organization. So this year, we've changed our format a little bit. I've invited all 3 winners of both categories to stick around and have a little panel discussion. So I want you to sit back and enjoy our conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a seat. And thank you for joining us. As a matter of fact, I want to introduce who's up here. Ronnie Stevens with Weimar Federal Credit Union. Mr. John Moran with Moran Construction Consultants. Mr. Joey Quinlan with First National Bankers Bank Shares. Mr. John Bordelon with Home Bank. And Ms. Susie Furr with Phelps Dunbar. And Mr. T. Brown with GMFS. Welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. I know we're living in a lot of crazy times. So look, I want to start off with the big white elephant in the room. And Ronnie, we're going to start with you. How were you prepared or not so prepared for a stay-home order? And when everything hit, and has it changed your perspective on working remote?
Well, actually, we were lucky that a couple of weeks before all this hit, we had actually done a tabletop disaster recovery exercise and kind of identified some holes that we had, some things we needed to work on. So we had some of that in place, but the big thing is we realized we didn't have all the equipment in place for employees to work from home. So we had to ask employees to use some of their personal PCs, laptops. So it was a challenge, you know, getting all that up to speed and getting everybody set up. And it was kind of a learning curve, I think, for some of us. But and yes, it definitely has changed our perspective. You know, I guess I didn't realize how much of what we do can actually be done remotely and still be productive. So I think that's opened our eyes to long-term potentials of working from home. You know, I still worry a little bit about how that may affect culture, you know, going forward. But another thing that was surprising, though, is we were still able to stay connected and through, you know, Zoom staff meetings and lots of emails back and forth and things like that. So it was a forced test run for us that opened our eyes to a lot of things, I think.
How about you guys, Joey?
I think we did a pretty good job with responding quickly. Our IT staff, within a week, had most of our offices and staff that were working from home equipped like they needed to be. I think we've always done a pretty good job from a business continuity perspective because of preparing for hurricanes. Our company has offices located across the Southeast, and so we've got a pretty robust disaster recovery plan. But I think it was having the bandwidth with VPN for us to be able to get those folks home. For the most part, I guess about a month into the pandemic, we were probably working with 15 to 20% in the office and the remainder at home. And I think that, you know, our customers didn't even know that that was the case. And so very proud of our team and especially our IT staff on how they stepped up and made sure we were equipped.
That's awesome. What about you all, Susie, at Phelps? You're on?
It was pretty seamless. I have to give credit to our IT team. They had us prepared actually well ahead of time. We were fortunate to have invested in systems with no knowledge of what was coming, and that caused it to be pretty seamless for us. It was, you know, as attorneys, we could easily work from home. we could log into our network, and that was great with very little business interruption.
T, what about you guys, your perspective on remote? Because that seems like the big question now. How did it change, and has it shifted your perspective, or were you guys already in the groove?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely shifted my perspective. We've always had a number of people working remotely. We have underwriters in different parts of the country that we've hired. But to move 175 employees that are in an operations center virtually all to a remote situation was something that gave us a lot of concern. But I will tell you, not only did our IT department do an amazing job after the first 4 hours, once we realized we needed more bandwidth and we had 200 people logging on, we normally had 20 people. The productivity that we experienced far exceeded any of our expectation. And I think some of it had to do with, we were coupled by, people staying at home. Now they're forced at home. Our business, really increased during this time because of low interest rates. So there's a lot of demand for work. So I would say that I do not see a situation where we have 175 to 180 employees back in the office the way we did pre-March 15th.
And John, what about you guys at Home Bank?
Well, I think we're all facing the new normal, which will be a lot of people working from home. We, thanks to our IT, just like everybody else, in 2 weeks we had 240 people remotely working securely to serve their customers. On top of that, we did 3,200 PPP loans, and most of those were people working from home or working shift work so that we would have our social distancing. So hats off to everybody that basically contributed to make the customer experience so great during a time when there was so much uncertainty in the world.
Yeah, wow. Good point. John, I wanted to, John Moran with Moran Construction, I want to turn it over to you for a moment. When we wrote about you guys and did a little research, I have to ask this question. What's been the single biggest challenge for you as a company, either as it pertains to your customers or your employees? How did you guys pivot or innovate being in the midst of a pandemic and being in the construction business?
For us, it's just accommodating growth structurally, and in the pandemic, being able to do that remotely. We were able to work remotely very well. We were pretty well suited for it because we travel a good bit anyway due to our work. And so during the pandemic, we focused on structure and making sure that everyone understood their role and expectations. We broke into small groups so that we'd have leadership involved across the board, making sure that everyone had access to an upper management person to rely on. And we just kept a very open line of communication. Communication was key for us internally as well as externally with our clients.
Great. John, Bordelon, I want to turn it back to you, speaking of all the pivoting that we've been doing. What initiatives did you guys take to maintain the culture of employees working at home? And I want to start off with the story of the socks.
Story of
the socks.
The socks.
The sock. Something about one of your employees and some of the things that you guys did differently at Home Bank to make sure the employees
with the sock.
Okay,
but
right.
I think all companies were put under a lot of pressure in a short amount of time. This is something new. We actually looked back at our disaster recovery plan, and we had under there pandemic low risk. And so every policy, every procedure had to be adjusted. And then you have your employee base. We have 455 employees scattered across Southwest Louisiana and Mississippi. And having connectivity to all of those was a very difficult thing. But, we started a couple of years ago with our motto, which is one team working to create exceptional customer experiences. And I could not be prouder of all 455 of our employees working from wherever, their cars sometimes, their homes, and working collectively to get the customer what they needed. While it may seem that business has shut down, it really has not. We've been just as busy during COVID as we have any other time. So it was quite the challenge working remotely, working collectively with different people, finding those people to make that happen, all for the sake of the customer. And very proud of the effort that all 455 people put forth.
It's awesome. Susie, I want to go to you. we're all going through transitions in all organizations, right? In a lot of different ways, technology, culture, everything else. How do you all get your employee buy-in at Phelps Dunbar when implementing systematic changes or any new initiatives?
I think it starts with taking into account the employees' perspectives, and when we're making any decisions, figuring out what impact that's going to have on employees, and then managing our decisions based on that. That's the one side of it. And I think the other side is then communications and sharing information. We experience that when employees have been a part of the knowledge, they are more likely to understand what's going on and be willing to buy into it. Like if I think, the pandemic, it was an issue for us, as I'm sure it was for so many people, of the, are we in, are we out, are we in, are we out? Do we go back to work? Is it safe, is it not? And there was a tremendous amount of communication to all employees that I think allowed them to see the issues that were being grappled with. And so that by the time, the decision came that we need to get back in, there was plenty of buy-in. Everybody seemed to be on board because they had been informed all along.
That's great. And I want to throw this out to all of you, actually. And T, I want to start off with you, because communication is, we've never had more tools to be connected, yet communication is always a challenge, right? In today's world, there's so much information overload, there's a lot of speed, everybody's hearing a lot of voices. And so how do you, T, I want to start off with you, how do you ensure your employees really, truly understand your company's long-term strategy and pursue it? So how do you communicate that with your team?
Like Susie said, like you said, communication really is the primary component. One of the things that we've done for the last 21 years is every Monday at 10:30, our management team, all levels of management, every aspect of our company is represented. Used to be 6 people, now there's 20 people. We're very fortunate about that. But, and we talk about each of the issues that anybody may have, and everybody in that room understands it, and then it can go through the organization to the rest of the employees. And so it could be a 30-minute meeting, it could be an hour-and-a-half meeting, depending upon the issues that we have. But that's how we've really been able to focus on that, because we used to have 1 location, now we have 13 locations, and being able to deal with that is critically important.
Do you have a set agenda already laid out every week?
So the set agenda is everybody has the floor for as long as they want it.
Gotcha. Ronnie, what about you guys?
May sound a little bit like a broken record, but communication is obviously the key. And for us, it starts at the top and making sure that the management team is always on the same page. And so we've always had a monthly strategic management team meeting to discuss, whatever issues are going on in the credit union. And actually during the pandemic, we turned that into a daily meeting where we met every morning. Sometimes it was meeting would only last 5 minutes, but it made sure that we were addressing any concerns that came up among the staff or anything that was going on with the membership. So I think that's the most important thing, is making sure that that management team is all on the same page so that the staff gets the same message from everybody.
John, what about you guys? How do you ensure, man, that they're getting the message?
So we really let our whole team dictate the direction our company takes long term. It's based on the individuals that are part of our group that lead our company in a certain direction. And so it's staying in constant contact with employees at every level as to what their interests are for the company, what their ambitions are, and where they see themselves in the future, and working towards that with them individually and then as a team together.
Joey, you guys, and are you using Zoom, or have you started with your executive team live? I mean, what are you guys doing right now?
We're doing a hybrid of different forms of communication. One of the things that we started this past year that I think was particularly noteworthy is that we started doing an all-employee meeting, and we did that. It was via video teleconference, and everybody within the company could participate in that. And so they could pose questions, and we went through the overall performance of the company. We had everybody within the management team have airtime to be able to talk about what was going on in their respective area. And so all of their employees were able to provide feedback in preparation for that meeting. We've done that, trying to do that semi-annually, and we did one in mid-year after June 30th. We did that, and we did it in the form of a video because of the challenges of with roughly 160 employees stretched across 7 different states. It was going to be very difficult for us to do it. So we did it in the form of a video with an emphasis on our mission and our core values and our vision. And we remind, every time we have a meeting with all of our folks, we emphasize that over and over again. And I think that really helps with engagement with all of our employees.
Neat. And Susie, what about you guys? You have different law offices around the state, yet how are you communicating with the core and then in your own office here in Baton Rouge with the managing partners and all the different types of attorneys going on?
Yeah, well, particularly while we were remote, we're back in now, so that makes it back to kind of normal. But when we were remote, we were, by practice group particularly, we're having Zoom happy hour, Zoom whatever. It was funny to watch the progression of maybe those who are less technologically inclined and more, you'd start out, you wouldn't see them on the screen, then maybe you'd see, a blur of them, and then eventually it would get better. But we really kept in touch through Zoom predominantly.
Gotcha. I want to shift gears here because something that was fascinating, most of you made it through this past year with single-digit turnover, which is not normal in today's world. And so I want to and I'm going to jump around here. What's your secret, T? I mean, I looked at your numbers from the research analysis, and so how have you been able to retain your people so well?
Well, I think first and foremost, like most businesses, our employees are our most important asset. And knowing that our employees can leave every day and make a decision whether or not they want to come back to work for us is kind of basis of how we operate. And we want to nurture that relationship. We want to put them in a position to be successful. 90% of our employees have some form of incentive compensation that's tied to the overall objectives of the company. And that gives them a chance to really benefit from the hard work that they do. And part of it is our management team continuing to be involved with our employees, and making sure that we hear what their issues are and what their needs are. And, and like our tagline is changing lives. And first and foremost, we want to change the lives of our employees and ultimately our clients and then our community. And that's kind of the basis of how we operate.
John Moran, what about you guys?
I think it's just a focus on our team, developing each individual beyond just the professional level. We focus on physical fitness and social issues and quite a few things beyond just professional business-related issues. And I think that really draws our team together. We get to know each other very well. We work very hard together. We have a lot of fun together. We keep it light in the office. We just try to make it a place that people want to work and be together, enjoying, success professionally, but also individually in life.
Mr. John Bordelon, what about you guys at Home Bank?
Well, I think every time you have an employee come into your office, it's a great challenge to be able to develop them and make something more than they expect when they come in the first day. So, as stated earlier by T, it is our most important asset, and so we take that very seriously. We take every opportunity to be able to train them, not just for the job that they're hired for, but potentially others. In many cases, we've had lateral moves where one particular job did not necessarily fit their style and maybe move to a different department. So I think it's important to be able to put those right employees in the right place, give them the extra training they needed so that they will be eligible for promotion going forward.
Excellent, excellent. I want to shift gears here. Most of you offer some type of diversity training. Joey, I want to start off with you. How has that impacted First National's culture and the bottom line?
I think one of the things that we've done recently this past year was we have put in place a HR committee that includes everyone from all of the areas of the bank, specifically as it relates to diversity. And we've had those folks be able to provide input on how we can improve our recruiting and focus on inclusion within the workplace. And so we look at that from a standpoint of diversity, not just ethnically or racially, but from ideas and thoughts and backgrounds and experiences. And that's worked very well for us. And we're continuing. I don't think any company can ever do enough, but it has to stay top of mind. And that's one of the things that we work on all the time.
Susie, what about what's been the impact at Phelps Dunbar?
I think we're certainly doing our training as well. We've been working, with recent events. We're now, looking inside of ourselves to figure out what more can we do to, have an even greater impact than we have been having before. The legal market, like the banking and others, I'm sure, struggles with diversity and recruiting diverse candidates, and so that's, it requires particular deliberate effort to make sure we can keep a diverse workforce.
All right, I had fun with this question, so I'm not even going to call it. I'm just going to open the floor for a second. So think about this. So for years, companies have been adjusting their culture to attract and to retain millennials. We've been hearing about how millennials are this and millennials are that. I'm sure it's crossed your mind. But now we're seeing a new generation in the workforce, Gen Z or post-millennials, born roughly between 1997 and 2010. And so I want to just open up the floor and say and ask, what has been your experience with Gen Zers so far? Anybody want to take a pop at that?
I'll give it a shot. We've had a limited experience thus far, but I do think one of the fundamental components differences that we've seen is, these young people were raised with a smartphone in their hand. I mean, everything that the kind of almost their identity is that phone and their social media, and so the way they communicate via text versus verbally is, I think, something that we as an organization are going to have to kind of adjust with. I'm more of a verbal person. I'm not really much of. I started texting maybe 8 years ago. These guys grew up with a bottle.
Have you started slacking yet, baby?
So, I think that's going to be something that organizations are going to have to really deal with, how we communicate with them.
Ronnie, any thoughts?
Well, when I thought about this question, I really don't have a lot of personal experience, because we don't have anybody right now on staff that falls into that category, and actually all my kids were born before 1997, so I guess my experience is just personal experience out in the work world, and I guess the one thing that I've seen or impression I have is that this group of kids seem to ask first, what can my employer do for me, rather than what can I do for my employer, So I guess if I could give them some advice, I would say focus on the other one, focus on what you can do for your employer, and then the other will take care of itself.
John Borland, I want to go back to you, and I want to shift gears here again. What role should the CEO or the executive team play in creating a company culture that's worthy of the best places to work recognition? I'll ask it again. What role should the executive team or the CEO play in creating a company culture that's worthy of a best place to work recognition?
Well, I'm sure that's different for every company. Being a company of 455 employees, we have a lot of structure, and we have talented managers at various levels that are able to assist the CEO to move this forward. However, we found ourselves some time back going in different directions. Growth sometimes brings in different cultures that can split your organization apart. And so we've been focusing significantly on this one-team concept, where everything we do is for the benefit of the customer. And if every employee feels that they can work in that environment, it really turns the company around and has one major focus, and that becomes the customer, and then the success just piles on. So it's been a transition over the last couple of years that's really taken off, and I think to some degree the pandemic actually made it better, in the sense that we had to communicate a lot more because we weren't in the offices together. We were at other offices at home or whatever, so it became very difficult, and it worked so much better than it ever has. So I'm very pleased to say that just coming together as one team has made us a much more effective company across the board.
Awesome. Joey, what are your thoughts on that topic?
I think for us it's been about empowerment, and as a company grows, when you're relatively small, the CEO tends to be the person that provides a lot of the answers, and I think as a company grows, it's really important for managers and your leaders, your subordinate leaders within the company, to be able to be empowered, feel empowered, and to be able to provide the leadership to the staff and give them empowerment as well. And so I really feel like the role of the CEO is to be able to facilitate that empowerment and encourage it, because it's very difficult. I think in a lot of companies there's an adjustment that they go through as they expand and grow, and some of the leadership they have to adjust to that they feel empowered, and that has to get driven from the CEO.
Joey, I want to stop right there because you guys do something different. Cybersecurity is a hot topic everywhere, right? Certainly in the financial area for sure, in the legal arenas. But each quarter, you have a program. Your employees who successfully complete phishing tests and or discover actually phishing attempts are eligible for a drawing for $200 gift cards. I think it's pretty creative, and I think something we can all steal. Can you tell us about the impact and what exactly is that?
It's been very positive for us. Our IT staff and the HR department collaborated on that. And, you know, in a regulated institution like a bank, well, not only is it a requirement, but I mean, you have to do information security training and testing. And so this was something we were doing already anyway. And so in an effort to try to create heightened awareness, we basically created a raffle structure that on a quarterly basis, every time you identify a legitimate phishing attempt and you click and make it a fish alert on that one, it identifies, sends you a message, congratulations, you've got another chance. And so I would equate it to almost like raffle tickets. And without having to pay for a raffle ticket, you're just investing with additional diligence and being vigilant about the heightened information security awareness. And so it's worked very well for us. Hats off to our IT staff and the HR department. It was really creative, and it's created a fun element to it as well as making it competitive. Everybody's always looking forward to see who won the raffle at the end of the quarter.
Neat, neat. I want to open this up. We're going to be wrapping up in a moment, and I just want to open up the floor. More than half of the small to medium-sized best places to work, nearly 3/4 of the large best places to work, offer employees additional paid time off for community service and volunteer work. What are the benefits of that for those of you that have that? Anybody speak to that?
I think it's I don't know why, maybe it's more so with banks than other companies, but we feel this desire to help our communities grow because we become part of that community. We think it's very important that all of our employees get out and be engaged in their community. So we do give that time off when they're on boards or whatever. If they're doing a special project, we let them go and pay them for that because it's an important part of what we think raises our company up.
Ronnie?
Well, I guess our situation's a little unique in that we serve just one company in BASF. So our goal has always been to be as involved as we can with them and all of the different community activities that they do, and they do a tremendous job. So, but I think for the staff that we allow them time during the day to go help and participate in these events. And to me, what it does for them is it just reinforces what we're all about, what our mission is. They're out there talking to the employees of BASF and helping out in the event and realizing how that impacts the community. So we kind of do it indirectly, but I think it really just, bottom line, reinforces that we're there to help people.
I want to wrap up with one final question that I want to give an opportunity for all six of you. First, I want to say thank you very much for investing your time this morning and sharing with our audience. But I want to wrap up with this final question. And John, I want to start with you, Mr. Moran. What one piece of advice would you share with people who are creating a best place to work kind of culture? There are a lot of people watching that didn't make the top 50 places to work, much less the top 3. What one piece of advice could you share with them?
I would say just listen to every member of the team. You know, value their opinion and you know, their thoughts on the direction of the company. You know, it may be an intern that brings a great idea to the company that changes things. So just listen. You know, listening throughout the ranks of the team.
Susie?
I would say hire well, spend time and resources in your hiring, and make sure you hire good people. I don't know if anybody's experienced this, but sometimes lawyers can have difficult personalities, and I think it's shocking. I know. Since the inception of our office, there's been a real emphasis on hiring respectful, collegial, cooperative, ethical people, and that spreads as it continues. The more you recruit those people, the more the culture is better, and the more you continue to get those people. So it's worth the time and resources to do it right.
That's good. Ronnie?
This one's easy for me. Follow the golden rule. Do unto your employees as you want it done unto you when you were in their shoes. So that's really what that means, is just when it comes time to make decisions, put yourself in the employee's place and look at it from their perspective.
John, Mr. Bordelon?
Our focus has been breaking down the vertical walls that separate management sometimes and other employees. And what's that done is created a dialogue amongst all the employees that has been tremendous. And I think what it wants any employee to do is be more successful at their job, and therefore the whole company rises up by having that vertical communication link.
T?
I go back to the basic point of our employees are our most important assets. And so it's communication and it's alignment of interest and making sure that we're all moving in the same direction together and that they feel rewarded and they feel empowered in order to have the opportunities.
And Joey?
I would say for us, what's been very successful for us is facilitating a family-focused and family-feeling type culture. And when I say that, I don't mean just family-friendly, but from a standpoint where employees look at each other, treat each other like brothers and sisters. You know, familial bonds are pretty powerful within an organization, and for us, that has transcended into our customers feeling like they're part of the extended FNBB family, and it's worked very well for us. And so it's being very family-focused internally as an organization.
Well, we've run out of time. Thank you again for joining us this morning. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. And I want to do a special thank you to our sponsors who give and do so much for our community. Thank you to Fishman Haygood, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, LWCC, Iberia Bank, and WFB. Let's continue to work together so we can make Baton Rouge and the capital city and Louisiana a better place to live and work. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day. And that's a wrap.